What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Second Avenue Podcast. I'm your host, Jonathon.
I'm your other host, Elijah Venencia. Welcome back, everybody. You guys missed an eventful Tuesday night. That's what we'll start it off with. This is very early in the Second Avenue week. We start or we record on Sunday, so Monday's the first day, and Tuesday was something. I'll let Jonathan. He was a bystander to what had happened.
For those of you on TikTok, maybe you've seen this, Twitter, if you're on social media, you might have seen this before. There's a challenge on the internet, the 999 RIP Juice World, the 999 challenge, not Juice World, in relation to baseball games. 9 hot dogs, 9 beers in the 9 innings of a baseball game. So, like Elijah said, we had an eventful Tuesday night. I was just a bystander. I watched my boy, my co-host, my family put down some dogs. I'll say that. He put in work. We went to the Danville Dans game. If you're from the area, you know the Danville Dans, but you may not know they got $2 Tuesdays. So $2 beers, $2 tickets. What a steal!
Sponsor it, yeah. I mean, sponsor us. We're giving out free advertising here. And
Exactly.
my story that was a big moment. That was on multiple stories. I had a lot of people slide up. So, but I'll let him get more in depth here, I guess.
Yeah. So I got there in I think the second inning, and you were like 2 or 3 dogs, 2 or 3 beers in, and I was in awe. You're put on a clinic. It was like a perfect game. Like you just can't address what's happening. You just got to witness the greatness. And then eventually we did address what was happening. We started posting the Snapchat stories. We were talking about it. People were talking. The place was buzzing. The game was a good game, but not for this challenge. The Dans were up too big in the prospect league that they play in. There is a 10-run rule after 7 innings. So unfortunately, the game did end before you were able to complete the challenge, but you put on quite the show. 9 hot dogs, 8 beers. Is that
Yeah,
right?
yeah, 8.5. I think we'll
Eight and
we'll
a
call it
half.
in
I mean,
seven
so
innings.
close. So
Yeah,
close.
this was a 2016 LeBron Finals performance here. I mean, it's something special. You just had, like you said, you had to be there. The energy was just different. Um, I won a quarters game if the ball was left on the mound. I also won that during this challenge. Um, what else
It
had
was something
happened?
to
Oh,
see.
it was a sweat too because the team literally had a man on base. I think a man was on second, like
Mm-hmm.
2 outs, and they needed an RBI, and the game would have continued on, and I would have continued the challenge. But
You would have completed the challenge. It would have
yeah,
been wraps. It would have been too easy. You had like half a drink left, and you would add a full another inning to get that done. You were going crazy speed wise. It was very impressive. Even just the quantity alone is very impressive, but you were doing
I
it way
did.
faster than I think most could do.
I finished my beer and then puked everywhere. If you're on my private Snapchat story, you saw that it was a lot of puke. It was heavy. You heard it hit the ground.
Yeah.
So, but I held it
Yeah.
all in. So,
I didn't know if we were going to talk about that part of the story or not, but I'm glad you did because it was the people got to know, we can't be deceiving, you're human at the end of the day. So yeah.
yeah. Yeah, so I'm not doing the challenge this coming week on Tuesday. I got to work till 7, so that would be unfair advantage again, or unfair for advantage for the Dans, I guess, to beat me again. So
Hmm.
I'll maybe be back in a couple weeks. I think I have Tuesday off, so I can really just prepare, not eat anything, and
Hmm.
just go at it. Because
Yeah,
I'm getting this done. Like
I
it's not a
I
matter of
think
if,
you
it's a
will.
matter of when.
It is. I have 100% faith that you will pull this off, whatever the next time you do it is. Hey, maybe our first little second out meetup, we take the squad out to a Dan's game.
Just
We
enjoy
make we
greatness.
make our presence known,
Yeah.
and people witness you do something unbelievable. It's quite the show. Anyway, yeah, we'll be back. We'll let you know when that's happening. If you're in the area, pop out, join us for a game. It'd be a good time. Uh, all right, let's get into the next little housekeeping news here. Ox Battle number 7. If you've been around for the longest, you know we do the Ox Battles, pick songs against each other for specific categories. And we have come to the ultimate Game 7 matchup. I was up 3-2. Elijah tied it up in Ox Battle number 6. Here we are, Game 7 next week. So it's going to be a big one. Stay tuned to Instagram because we'll let you guys pick one of the categories for the Ox Battle. So if you want to have a say in some aspect of this, stay tuned.
Well, you'll end up having to say regardless, but
They will, but
yeah.
in the
And then the topic.
preparation,
So, yep.
yeah, yeah, you guys will have a say in who wins each category, of course. But you want to have the categories, stay tuned to Instagram. Also, if you've been on for a minute, we do AMP live streams every once in a while. AMP is an app where you basically have like a radio show where you play music, talk, do whatever, just hang out, kind of like an audio Twitch stream. That might be a good way to say it. But it's a good time. We did one with our favorite songs of 2022. That was the only one we've done so far, actually. But we've been meaning to do another one for a long time. And what better time than Game 7 here? We could talk about the categories, talk about our picks, and then just listen to the songs with you guys. Because I think that's a good way. If you haven't heard the songs, maybe just tune in and just give them a listen and just hear us out with why we picked it. I think it'll be a good time.
Yeah, no, it'll help out a lot because I feel like they just go off the snippets sometimes. Last time we had a song that most people wouldn't have heard of or we hadn't mentioned on the podcast yet. So, I mean, this will be huge for that. So exciting stuff. It's always a good time to do them. So
let's get into songs of the week before we get into the main topic of the episode. We missed songs of the week last week or the week before, I think. So we've kind of been slacking on these, but I want to give you guys some songs we're listening just so you guys can, get a little bit of our taste and just maybe find some new songs you like. You want to kick us off here with your first pick?
Yeah, I have this pretty underground track here. We got Runaway by Kanye West featuring Pusha T.
Whoa.
I mean, not very heard of course, but I was coming back from Petersburg game, had a big W, knocked down a few threes, just really hit a dagger almost. I mean, you weren't there, unfortunately, but I'd say it was a dagger. But anyways, I mean, just such a great song, like my favorite song ever. I mean, this is just like one of those drives back where it just hits every word. The outro, Mike Dean, so perfect song.
Go. Great song. I gotta be honest though, it's like declining on my all-time favorite Kanye songs, but still great nonetheless. Maybe we'll have to do a little revision on our Kanye songs bracket or ranking or something soon, but yeah, we'll get into that another time. My first song, I got Working on It by Jay Dilla. I listened to Donuts last week just randomly. Instrumental track, but he has got the samples that give it a little bit of like vocal elements, although it's not like new live vocals. Great instrumental, phenomenal album as well. If you haven't given that a listen, do yourself a favor. It's a good one.
For my next track here, we have Champions by Kanye West featuring Gucci Mane, Big Sean, 2 Chainz, Travis Scott, Yo Gotti, Quavo, and Designer. Just a great track. This is not even that long of a track for how many people are featured. They all kill it though. Just a really enjoyable song that just came on the other day. I was okay. Forgot about this.
I've not heard that song in the longest, but that one does hit. I'm gonna have to give that one a listen now. Appreciate you bringing that back up to the forefront of my thoughts. My next track, I got 30 Till Midnight by Tommy Richmond. Tommy Richmond, a name I had heard. I might have heard this song, but I saw his name got announced as he's the opener for Brent Faiyaz's upcoming tour. So I was like, I think I know who he is, but I don't know for sure. I couldn't have told you like a song off the top of my head or anything like that. So I wasn't like claiming to be like a fan or anything, but I was like, okay, let's see. I am unable to go to that tour, which is very disappointing because Brent was my number one person I want to see next live. So that's tough, but this song by Tommy Richmond definitely hits. Would have been excited to see him as an opener. I've heard a couple of other songs now too, all pretty good. So definitely give him a listen.
Definitely. For my next track here, we have The Highs and Lows by Chance the Rapper featuring Joey Badass. This is just a great song. I mean, still really not an update on the Chance album or anything, but when this released, like I was like, okay, this thing's gonna be legit. Still think it's gonna be legit. Just waiting on it now, of course. So
100%. You're right though. We haven't heard anything about that album and
it
feels like months.
Yeah, this felt like it was coming in like 2 weeks after we had heard this. So
yeah,
and that was well over a year ago, I want to say. So
I still have faith that it'll come out this year though. So we'll see. My last track of the week, I got Tell Me I'm Right by Eam Triplin. Eam Triplin killing the game right now.
Yeah,
crazy come up over the past year. So I think everybody's rocking with Eam Triplin at this point, but not a good one. So not as big as like Awkward Freestyle or some of these other ones, but it's a newer one. So definitely show it some love.
Yeah, he's killing it ever since like Rolling Loud, I feel like he's just really taken that and went crazy with it. So
for sure,
that's a good way to turn a bad situation into a good one. So
for sure. All right, let's get into it though. So the main topic of today's episode, obviously you saw the title, our experience at Lyrical Lemonade Summer Smash 2023. We each went separate days. I went on Friday, Elijah went on Sunday. We haven't really talked at all about how it went.
So this is raw,
completely fresh. We can talk about, the people we saw, some of our favorite songs, just favorite moments, just other stories from Summer Smash. Do you want to go back and forth a little bit? Do you want me to tell you and then you
Um,
tell me? How do you think
we
this is gonna go?
I think you tell. I don't know. You start, and then I don't. I guess we can go. You tell me, and then I tell you.
Okay. Good.
This is crazy. This Summer Smash took me over 60 concerts or 60 people I've seen. I guess so.
Oh.
Yeah. So we're gonna have to do a ranking at some point because I know you got a crazy list. I've got a
Mhm.
crazy list. This is so I'm excited to get into this and hear how your Friday went.
Yeah, I don't know what my number is. Let me see real quick. I have it 83 before. So now it's up to like close to 90. So pretty good list, but that'll be a wild episode. That'll take a minute. So eventually that'll happen though for sure. I honestly think we'll do individual episodes for those. Like you talk about yours, then one
Yeah.
episode talk about mine, because otherwise I don't know how we get through it. Anyway, let's get into it. So I went on Friday. I went with our cousins, JJ and Sammy. JJ just turned 17. Happy belated birthday to the boy. For his birthday, his parents got him tickets to Summer Smash. W. Can we get a W in the chat for his
Yeah.
parents? I mean,
Huge
what a
dub.
great present. His favorite rapper right now is DC the Don, and DC the Don was performing in Chicago on his birthday. So that would have also been a good one. But this was like an easier one to get him to. Like I would just take him and it was
Mhm.
all good because I actually wanted to go to this either way. So it really worked out. Anyway, I had to take care of some work things on Friday morning. So we got out of Bloomington at about 12:30, which was a little bit later. We were supposed to get there a little bit around like 2:30, which gates open at 3. So we're like, okay, cool. Uh, we hit some traffic, which I was sweating. DC the Don was at 3:40. And I, in my head, wanted to be in line before 3 o'clock, like no questions.
Mhm.
So when I wanted to be there at like 2 to get in line. So when
Yeah.
we just be in line, and then when the gates open, we got in. Whatever. Anyway, we pull up at 3 o'clock. The whole time on the way there, though, we had to like reroute. Like we went some different interstate than I was expecting to try to like go around traffic. Apple Maps was like, do this. And the time just kept getting pushed back further and further
Mhm.
until it was 3 o'clock. We pulled up. I was like, oh my God. So I was like, you two get out of the car and just go get in line, and then I'll park and I'll just meet you guys in there. But we're getting the boy in there to see DC the
Yeah.
Don. Like, I don't care about anybody till like 6 o'clock, really. So whatever happens, I'm fine. But his main reason, his only reason for really going, we got to make sure he's there. So anyway, I get them out. I eventually parked. The line to park was awful. There was like so much traffic just everywhere, and it was like 2 lanes, and there was 2 lanes going in, but then there was a lane trying to come out, and so then there was people merging, and it was just a shit show. It
Yeah.
was awful.
Well,
Uh, anyway, eventually I get parked. I go to meet them in line, and then there's probably I mean, there's hundreds, if not thousands of people in line at this point. And I'm sitting there like, oh my God, like there's no chance we get in here. Then all of a sudden I look over and I'm like, oh, there's the no bags line where there's nobody
oh.
in it.
Oh,
Un-
I did not see it.
unfortunately, unfortunately, we were in the bags line because our cousin Sammy brought a fanny pack. JJ and I, no bags. So she was like, you guys can go in the other line if you want. And we're like, okay, sorry. Yeah, we
See ya.
we gotta do what we gotta do. You know, we came together, but we meet up inside. So Jay and I go inside. Literally, there was, like I said, hundreds, if not thousands of people in line. We just walked straight in. And we probably waited in the line for 15 minutes before I realized that we were in that line. I just thought that everybody was going through those things. I didn't pay attention. I thought,
Voluntarily, yeah.
yeah, I was like, all right. I did not realize that everybody in that line had a bag. That is shocking to me. I guess a lot of people bring, the camelbacks,
Uh,
a little fanny pack, whatever, but crazy. Anyway, so we get in, we walk to the stage. There's not that many people there at this point. So we get like side right front row. So okay, cool. It's his first concert. I don't know if I mentioned that yet.
yeah.
So I didn't know how to play the situation. Like I didn't know if he was really trying to get in the pit, get moshing like that. So I was like, all right, let's stay off to the side here a little bit. We can watch. And I feel like a lot of times, I think it's a veteran move at concerts to come over to the side a little bit, go to the other side a little bit, like move around, play
Mhm.
everybody, give everybody a show. So I was like, I'm sure he'll come like right in front of us at some point. He's like, okay, so whatever. We're just chilling there. DC the Don comes out. I don't know any of the DC the Don songs, I'll be honest. I've listened to a couple with him, whatever. Could
Yeah.
not have told you a name. Couldn't even tell you how one goes. I've heard him, but that's it. We listened to a couple on the way there too, but yeah, it was whatever to me. He was actually a pretty good performer. He got the crowd going, especially for like the first set of the day
Mhm.
on that stage. Did a really good job. He's huge. He's 6'8", I guess.
Oh wow. I was
Yeah.
expecting smaller stature here.
No, he used to play basketball at Chino Hills.
Oh, okay.
So he's a hooper. He's
Wow.
just like that. Yeah, which we'll get to it. But anyway, so he's performing. He comes out right out in the middle, and he's in the middle a lot. He comes down to like by where the rails are, and he's like in the crowd, basically like rapping right in front of him. And he's like, "Oh," JJ's like, "Oh, we should have got over there." And I was like, I told you what could happen, what would happen, whatever." Plus, Sammy hadn't met up with us yet, so I was like, "All right, let's just hang out here. It'll be easier for her to find us, whatever." Probably like 4 songs in, she gets there. We're all together. We're like, "Okay, let's maybe get a little bit more in the mix. Let's get in there." And so we kind of head towards that area, and we're kind of in it for a couple songs, whatever. We're
Mhm.
not like too close to the rail, so it's not like we're really like getting pushed around, all that, but it was a little bit more than it was. Anyway, then DC the Don comes over like right where we were at, and he was like rapping against the rail, and I'm like, oh my god, I felt so bad. And then at this point, we're like, okay, whatever, let's just kind of go back to where we were. And so we're just standing there, and then DC Don comes back again, and he's like, open it up, I'm coming in the crowd. And so
Oh man.
so he walks in the crowd like right next to us. So JJ got to like stand next to his favorite rapper.
Touch
So
him, yeah.
yeah, so very cool moment there for him. Like I said, I don't know any of his songs, so I wasn't like, oh my god. It was just kind of
Yeah.
like it was cool, but it was whatever. But yeah, DC the Don, pretty good performance for somebody I'm not too familiar with. From there, we went to the Culture King stage in the stadium, and we got to see Chicago legend Valet, one of my boys. I've been a fan of him for a minute, so I was happy to see him. He's not somebody I'd probably like go to his own show, but seeing him at a festival, really nice. I just sat in the bleachers for that one. Like we didn't go
Yeah.
super close or anything like that. We were just chilling in the shade because it was pretty hot at this point. It was like 4 o'clock, and we didn't stay for the entire set. We stayed for probably like the first 6 songs or whatever. And he did Miami, which was like my favorite one from
Yeah.
him. So that was all I needed. Then I was like, we're good. We went to go get food at that point because we hadn't eaten. It's like I said, close to 4 or 5 o'clock. Then from there, I had seen that there was going to be like a booth for like Cash App card people, and I have a Cash App card, so I was like, let's go see what this is about. They got some like
Mhm.
exclusive merch, all that sort of stuff. So I'm like, all right, let's go. So we're waiting over there. I like get in this line. I'm trying to go in. I get in the line, and the line just is not moving, and we're just standing there. Eventually somebody like comes by, and I'm like, hey, like, what's happening? Like, are you guys letting people in right now? They're like, oh, we're waiting on the jerseys and the shorts to get over here, and then we're gonna open it up. I was like, okay. By this point, I'd been waiting in the line for probably at least 10 minutes, and JJ and Sammy went to go see Jaleel, and I'm just standing there by
Mhm.
myself. I don't know what's happening.
Yeah.
Long story short, the guy comes over. He's like, hey, hold on, for your troubles. He gives me a free drink coupon. I'm like, what a real one. So
That is.
I get in there, I get shorts for the boy JJ, and I got a water bottle. That was the reason I wanted. I want to get a water bottle just so I could
Mhm.
fill it at the station, have my water everywhere I went, all that. Anyway, then I go in this little room that's like air conditioned, is so nice, and they had glitter drinks. They were just little juices with glitter in them, colored green for Cash App, of course. I thought that that was what my free drink was, but no, there was another bar behind that area where you
Uh-huh.
could get whatever you wanted. So I
Oh
got
wow.
a beatbox, which is $18 for free. So shout out to that guy for being the plug because I had been peeping one all day, but
Mhm.
I didn't want to spend $18 on it. Opened it up, took a couple sips, did not like it. So kind of an L, but I tried it and it was free. So whatever. While this is happening, Jaleel has finished his performance. Like I said, I waited in that line. Time has passed. I go to that stage where they were supposed to be at, didn't know where they were at. I could not find them. I was tough. I was actually running through scenarios in my head where I was like, I'm lucky that I drove here. I have the keys. Like, I'm not worried. I'll be okay. I was like, but them, I was like, I might not see them again. That was
Ever
legitimate.
ever in our lives.
I might not see them because at this festival, the service was not great. You couldn't really text. You couldn't really post on social media. You couldn't really do any of that. So every time I tried to text them, I just was not sure that they were going to see it. Eventually, I got a Snapchat sent through them. They said where they were at, but then I was like, okay, I'm going to Freddie Gibbs here.
Mhm.
And there was some confusion, but eventually they got the point that I was at Freddie Gibbs. They're like, okay, we'll meet there. So at this point, I'm just kind of like wandering. Like I was just doing laps
Yeah.
like around the main areas. I walked around the stage where Jaleel was like 6 times probably. People were just looking at me like, "What is this guy doing?" Just by myself with a little backpack. Just yeah, I was a down bad look for sure. So I head over to the other stage, the Starry stage, where DJ Scheme is performing, and I was still in line when he started performing, and I heard him say, "I'm bringing out surprise guests." I was like, "Okay, I kind of want to like see who he's gonna bring out," whatever, because I didn't know where they were at. I was by myself, so I was just hanging out. So I was in the very back of the crowd, just kind of like watching. And he brings out Ski Mask and Slump God to take a step
Oh,
back, which was a fire moment.
yeah.
By this point, I'm like, okay, cool. People are running over there. And so I start heading to the Culture King stage in the stadium for Freddie Gibbs because he was my number one person I wanted to see. Him and Vince Staples, I've already seen Vince though, so I was like, Freddie's got to be my number one at this point. I had made my way into the stadium a couple times throughout the day so far, but I'd never seen this many people coming out. There were so many people coming out. I later learned that it was NLE Choppa performing before Freddie. So people were there for NLE Choppa. Like they were
Yeah.
showing out. I did not realize that people would go that crazy for him, but it was impossible to get down to the
Uh-huh.
floor because there were so many people coming up. So I just had to wait for a little bit. Anyway, I get down there and eventually I get a little tap on the shoulder. I look and I'm like, I'm not seeing anybody. It was Sammy and JJ. They were actually in the crowd for DJ Scheme and Ski Mask. So could have maybe seen them, but I was not looking for them at that point, honestly. Anyway, get there for Freddie. He did his thing. He brought his son out. That was fire. He did not do any like really old songs. I really wanted Thuggin' or Deeper. He did not do either, which was tough because they're two of my favorites. And I had seen his old set list where he did at least Thuggin' and sometimes Deeper. So I was like, okay, we're gonna get Thuggin' for sure. We did not get it. I think his set might have got cut short or something, or he thought he had more time than he did because he was like trying to do another song. And they were like, "No, you got to go," and he was
Yeah.
like,
That's
"All
always such
right,
an awkward moment.
it is." And at some point, the crowd, like, I was probably like the fifth to 10th row when it started. And then at some point, they opened up like a mosh pit for Freddie Gibbs, which is like, again,
Yeah.
what are you doing? But I darted across the mosh pit and I got to like the front row. So that was a W. So for the last probably 6 songs, I was in the front row. So that was nice. After here, we were supposed to get Ice Spice, and Ice Spice, couldn't be there for whatever reason. So they just said the whole day there was going to be a surprise guest. And I was like, who could this be? There's obviously, is it somebody from Chicago? Is it somebody with Lyrical Lemonade ties? A lot of options. Everybody was heading over to that stage. And all of a sudden, Lil Yachty comes out
Oh.
doing the classic little walkout. That was at a Summer Smash, so very fitting that he was the one to come out there, and he played all the hits. Very good set from Yachty. We left probably with 3 songs left, but you could hear it from where we were at afterwards, so we just kind of were hanging out at that point. The reason we left though is I think his second song he did "Back Outside Boys," which was fire, and they opened up a little mosh pit right by us, and somebody threw up
Oh. Wow.
on 2 other people. And
Wow.
then one of those people, I think, got a little bit of throw up on Sammy.
Oh.
Tough looks,
Yeah.
right? She was recording this whole thing. And so she has the video where somebody goes, gross. And somebody goes, what the fuck? Like the girl that got thrown up on, it's hilarious. It's even funnier in slow motion because it's like, what the fuck? Like, whatever. Yeah, obviously not ideal that she got thrown up on, but she's got like it was just a little bit of throw up. It wasn't like bad. Like if you were to get thrown up on, that's best case scenario.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was tough. So we walked out, and there were so many people there. We were like, now is the time to go to the bathroom, go get water, go get merch, do all these things. We got to see the most of Lil Yachty, so it was whatever. He also took like a 5 minute break to get people waters, and before he started passing me, he said, "Don't drink them," and it was so they could like wave them in the air. And the
Yeah.
video ended up coming out really nicely. You can check it out on the Summer Smash Instagram, but it took a minute. It took probably 5 minutes for that video to happen. So it kind of tough. You'd rather hear music, especially because it only has a 25-minute set. But anyway, at this point, we're headed over to the merch and the internet. Like I said, the service was bad. The
Yeah.
internet was also really bad. A lot of these little kiosks, these vendors, their like swipes were just not working, which was crazy. At the merch line, it's got pretty long, and they were just not able to do anything because they didn't have internet connection. So I hung out there, and the guy was like, "Well, we can just like keep trying." That's what he just kept doing. We'll just keep trying. He probably swiped my card like 15 times,
Mhm.
and eventually it did work. So I got my merch. I have it here. Let's take a look. We got the nice little Lyrical Lemonade Summer Smash shirt, formers in the back, but then we got the real piece here. Had to get an Ice Spice
Yeesh.
shirt. Had to get an Ice Spice shirt for the culture, even though she wasn't there. Sammy
That's
and I both
tough.
got it. We thought that was funny. I think it's gonna be a great conversation
Uh-huh.
piece. Like, if I'm wearing that, it's gonna get looks.
Mhm.
People are gonna be
Yeah.
talking, and I don't even really listen to Ice Spice's music like that, but I think it's a good move. I think it was well worth it at this point. So finishing up here, Vince Staples was right after this. We headed there, but there was another set before. He's actually there's Glorilla, who we
Uh-huh.
watched from the stands. We just sat there and watched Glorilla, who actually had a pretty good show. She brought out like dancers. They were doing their thing. FNF went off. The crowd was going
Mhm.
crazy. That crowd had so many girls in it, especially for that like type of festival. Way more girls in that set than any other set by far. Which there was just so many people in that crowd that I was like worried that
Uh-huh.
they weren't going to leave because there was nobody else performing at this time. There were Suicide Boys and Glorilla at the same time, and then Vince Staples, and then like that was it before Kid Cudi. And so I was like, they're not going to leave. They're just going to stay here until Vince,
Mhm.
and then they're going to go to Cudi. No, I was wrong. They like all left. So we went to like the second row for Vince Staples, which again was great. Killed it. My third time seeing him. He always comes through. I haven't seen him since 2017 or 18, whatever the tour for Big Fish was. And he did like all songs I had not heard besides like North North. So that was just fire. I loved all
Perfect.
his
Yeah.
recent projects. So that was great. He did not do like I wanted Senorita. That would have been
Uh-huh.
nice. I thought to go in for the crowd too. He didn't do that. I thought maybe if he had a longer set, he would have. And the one I always go back to that I did get to see him do once, Summertime. I love Summertime. Maybe like one of my favorite songs of all time. My favorite from him, I would say probably so. Tough, but I got to see it once, so I can live with that. After here, we had to Kid Cudi, which we didn't really care about Kid Cudi. Like, cool to see Kid Cudi.
I mean, who
Has a lot
does
of hits,
nowadays?
sure. But we weren't like, okay, we got to be front row for Kid Cudi. We're like, okay, wherever we are, we're fine. Like, it's fine. And we even talked about like we could leave like early.
Oh, I'll let you finish.
Okay. So at this point, we get there for Kid Cudi a couple minutes before, and I hear people going crazy. And we look over, we're pretty far in the back. There's like a little area by us, which we learn is like the VIP platinum, whatever,
Mhm.
something. So they're going crazy because Cole Bennett's right there. And we're like, oh, Cole, fire dope. Then all of a sudden, Lil Yachty's right there, and we're like, ah, yeah,
Oh, yeah.
fire. So we're just like standing there next to Lil Yachty while Kid Cudi's performing. So Kid Cudi did his thing. Set started off a little bit slow. He did a lot of new tracks like Man on the Moon 3 and the Intergalactic, which, whatever. I only knew that two of the first five he did probably. And then he got through all the hits. I mean, he did, Ghost, he did Mr. Rager, which was the main one I wanted. And then after that, I was like, I'm fine leaving now. So we walked to the car as he's finishing up his set. He made a reference towards Utopia. He was like, "My brother Travis Scott dropping an album soon" or something like that. And we're like, "He's bringing out Travis Scott." We knew that wasn't happening. We were just like seeing what the vibe was. So we kind of hung out for a minute there. He did the Scots. And we are like, "All right, we're dipping on that." So we left as the Scots was playing, and we heard "Memories" and "Pursuit of Happiness" as his last two from like the parking lot, which was fine. We got to hear him still, and pretty good set from Cuddy, but not
Yeah,
my favorite of the day for sure.
he's pretty. I did see a lot of complaints about the set list. I feel like he's pretty out of touch with what the fans want. So it's. I mean, you
Yeah,
want to play your new stuff, but you're headlining a festival and play your hits. You got enough hits to have a whole set list. So
valid.
that was my other complaint in Miami. But
Valid. My last note for the day is there was somebody there that I wanted to see so bad after I heard they were there. I was talking to this guy at the Vince Staples set before it started, and you were talking about whatever. He's like, "Bro, do you hear Nardbar's here?" And I was like,
oh wow,
"Nardbar's there? What?"
yeah.
Did not see Nardbar, but he was definitely there. I saw videos afterwards.
Mhm.
Very unfortunate though. Would have loved to see him in real life. That would have been crazy.
No, that would be crazy. I mean, one day they're gonna be like second abs there. Oh, like, and we'll be moshing with the crowd or
Oh
something. It'd be
yeah, we're
yeah.
we're just we're regular. We're every day.
Yeah, I mean, sounds like a great time. Vince Staples, that's the one that hurts me the most. I would like to
Hmm.
see Freddie Gibbs as well. Vince Staples is like that's literally like the last person like I have to see if he goes
Hmm.
on tour around here. I'll go see him. That's
Yep.
like one last person on my checklist there. I wanted to go, but I wasn't going if Kid Cudi's headlining. So, um, but on Sunday, it was a very solid day. You know, getting there, I'm just premier driver. I'm Lightning McQueen, just getting there, fucking
You're
just going through traffic. Like we'll talk more about that as we were leaving because that's where the real driving happened.
okay.
So started my day with Babytron first, or this is my fourth time seeing Babytron, which is nuts.
Oh my god.
Rolling Loud, New York, Miami, both times, and then summer or the 9-year anniversary for Lyrical Lemonade.
Uh,
This was by far the worst time, and it's
I,
not even it's not him. It
it's a
wasn't
crowd.
Babytron. Yes, so he's big enough now where everybody wants to go like, oh, Babytron, but nobody knew anything. They're trying to mosh the wrong songs. So you literally just have a dead crowd. I'm there just fucking singing every word to every song. So
Hmm.
love Babytron. And it's not really his fault, but it was an awful crowd, is what I'll say for that.
Tough.
Um, Following Babytron, Lil Skies is my first time seeing him. I was very excited for this. This is one I needed to get off the list. So Skies, I mean, just phenomenal performance. I figured he would. I've heard he's had very good sets and stuff like that.
Hmm.
So I wanted him to land in Cube at the 9-year anniversary. So this was like a
Hmm.
good consolation prize.
Yep.
Enjoyed his set a lot. He did pretty well. Rico Nasty. Rico Nasty was in the stadium. I
Ooh.
just watched from afar. I wasn't too crazy on like going. It was just someone who's there, so I'll watch him.
Uh,
Following that, Central C back on the main stage. Um, I mean, that was one I was like, all right, on seeing. We kind of stood back at that because there was a Rico Nasty and Central C were really like the two people they almost had an hour like between Low Skies and Lucky. So we got a little that was really chill. It was chill just having those two. It was like I'll watch them from afar, sit in the grass, just chill
uh,
out. So I really liked having that break there versus, just constantly moving, going somewhere. So
hmm.
and then Lucky on the big stage, that was he's a really good performer. Good
Oh my
performance.
god, that's the number one. I almost went on Sunday just to see him.
And then following that, Trippy Red. I've never gotten like a full Trippy Red set. He's been at every Rolling Loud I've been to, I want to say. And there's just always been conflict where I have to see the person before. So I was glad to get the
Hmm.
full experience here. And saw my boy Z Kicks. We met up. He said, "You want to mosh?" Well, I'll go. If you know Z Kicks, he's the guy, shoe plug, whatever. He was saying so he lost his phone. His phone was stolen. He was saying during Future the first night, and I don't know. They probably set this guy up like this dude was free loot for this. So he's like, there was a guy crowd surfing. So he's like, I put my phone back in my pocket and lifts him up, and his phone, literally the 2 seconds that had happened, his phone was gone. I was like, dude, they were waiting for you to do that. I was like, you're
Yeah.
free loot. So I
Yeah.
I somehow met up with Z Kicks with no contact to him or anything. I knew like the girls he was with, so I was texting them, and then we ended up meeting up with him and them. And me and Z Kicks went to Mosh to Trippy Red. He had a phenomenal set. That was one of the best crowd performances I've seen. And just like his set list was damn near perfect. Like there was
Fire.
not one that I would want to miss there. So he had all the hits and everything.
Real quick though, on the conflict thing, I wanted to say I had a conflict. It was Eam Triplin, Young Nudie, and Freddie Gibbs all basically at the same time. Who I wanted to see
Wow.
all three of those, so that was very tough. Had to see Freddie though. Sorry, I'll let you get back to it.
No, the conflicts are tough. Like you just you gotta thug it out.
Hmm.
So then I went back into the stadium for Lil Durk, Smirk, in his city. I was further back. I
Hmm.
don't really care to see Lil Durk, honestly. But he was going before Cardi and after Trippy. So then I'm further back. I was, on the floor in the back of the crowd, just watching, just vibing out to Smirk. And then I was like, okay, I'm gonna go back for Cardi. So we were sitting up in the like right but where the exit is in the stadium, and just fucking all the vamps are just coming. Like I was surprised that many people were leaving so early. I thought Dirk, was pretty popular. He'll have
Hmm.
the crowd like diminish very quickly. So then I was like, all right, I'm leaving now. I was like, if he brings out J. Cole, I'm gonna be so pissed.
Ooh, that'd been crazy. I
Yeah,
wouldn't
so
even
I was
considered
like,
that, but it would have been crazy.
so I that was in the back of my head. I was like gonna be so fucking hurt because it's J. Cole, you know. So
Mhm.
I go with the Vamps, go with the crowd, Cardi, just insane once again. Like I don't think there's a better performer out. I Travis hasn't performed in a couple years, so we'll see what he does in Miami. But Cardi is just it's different. That's what I was. My girlfriend Katie went with some of her friends, and I was like, you need to stay back for Cardi. I was like, really the only way of explaining it, I just said it is different. Like you don't want to be near that.
Yeah.
So I mean, phenomenal performance by him. A little fake out. He's like, Chicago, I love you. Leaves for 5 minutes, I think, to get the crowd a little bit controlled. Comes back out to T-Nex, performs a few more songs, and
Mm.
he just the crowd, the environment, the guitar he has going during his performances, also like before the songs, just great. But no, I mean, just such a great time at Summer Smash. My first time going to a different festival other than Rolling Loud, so um, it was W for sure. Who was your favorite performance? I wanted to get into this last.
Ooh, it's tough because Lil Yachty got the crowd right. You know what I mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
having a surprise guest can go a lot of different ways, and Lil Yachty potentially one of the best, especially at Summer Smash, just because the iconic video is there. So the crowd's going
Mm-hmm.
crazy. He did a little walkout, he's a little trout to
Mm-hmm.
coffin. So it's a good one. Um, but I don't like his music as much as some of the other people. So like I want to say Vince or Freddie. I want to say Vince. I think Vince had a great
Mm-hmm.
performance, but the crowd just isn't as good for Vince because they're not there for Vince at the end of the day.
Yeah.
I was there for Vince. There was definitely some near me that were there for Vince. Somebody was wearing like an OG North shirt that
Mm-hmm.
Vince was like, I don't even have that shirt. He's like, get him a microphone. So he rapped Big Fish with him, which was cool.
Ooh.
That kid actually didn't even like, you could tell. I couldn't tell actually 100%. I was pretty sure it was Big Fish, but like the instrumental wasn't very loud on the speaker. So he was like trying to ask people what song it was real quick. But when he got going, he was like, okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was a kid next to him with a heartbreaker, like Ramona Park merch.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, nah, give him the mic then. And so he gave it to him. And the kid was like, no, he took it back when he realized it was Big Fish, which respect. And then he was putting in work the whole show. He was definitely getting the lyrics because Vince acknowledged him again. So I'm going with Vince here for sure. What about you?
There's just so many different aspects there, like crowd environment and then performance wise. I'm gonna give best performance to Trippy Red, and then I gotta give crowd performance to Playboy Cardi. Although Trippy had a very good crowd, it was a good time there. So there's just so many different aspects to it, and I feel like that's gonna be the hardest part when we rank or get a ranking of 10, 20, even 30 potentially of our live performances. There's a lot to factor in there. There's
Mm-hmm.
the perfect mix. I've had those, so
Mm-hmm.
we'll
Same.
get into that one day. So
We will. I think that has to happen soon. I mean, we got a couple episodes planned out here um, with the Ox battles, and then we got to do double XL freshman soon. We'll get in that minute with the news, but we got to give our picks for what we would have there. But yeah, all around Summer Smash, definitely a W. Uh, I think we both enjoyed our time. I think it begs the question though: is your next festival? You mix it up from Rolling Loud with Summer Smash, Lollapalooza to see Kendrick.
possibly we'll see. Oh, actually, no, I'll be on a cruise.
Oh yeah, I remember that now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I wanted to say we'll see there, but I gotta go on a cruise,
We
so
won't see.
that's why I'm not at Rolling Loud Miami. So that kind of sucks, but
Hmm.
um, what can you do, So I mean, W for Summer Smash, though.
All right, let's get in the news for the week. Though, let's start off with the releases. We got projects from Young Thug, Mac Miller, Watching Movies That Sound Off, 10-year anniversary, Danny Towers and DJ Scheme, Coi Leray, La Tyler, and then we got singles from Lil TJ, King Von, Logic, Busta Rhymes, Joyner Lucas, Nicki Minaj and Ice Spice, Corday featuring Juice World, XXX Tentacion, and Lil Uzi Vert, Dominic Fike, and The Weeknd. Solid week
This is
for sure.
single week. Singles for this week are like there's a lot of big names there. This is a very good week for singles. Projects, I mean, Young Thug, I enjoyed that one a lot. Still,
Hmm.
Mac Miller gave that a listen, just kind of like a second deluxe, I guess, was what we'll call it for the 10-year anniversary. So I enjoyed that. The new songs they put on there as well. So, what was your favorite project or single of the week?
I liked the Young Thug. I listened to it today. I wanted to make sure I give that a listen before, we recorded. I've been hearing good things about Coi Leray. I'm gonna be
Yeah, I
honest.
have. I've heard a lot
I've
of
been
good.
hearing that. I'm gonna give it a listen. I promise. I finally gave Gunna a listen from last week. That was pretty
Mhm.
good. I don't know. It's just like I don't find myself like going out of my way
Yeah.
for Gunna, but like okay, when he says QP ski, like I mean that's a hit. The song with like the beeping in the background, like from like a smoke detector,
Mhm.
that's crazy. I forgot that that was a thing, and then it was in my headphones, and I was like looking around. And I was like, oh my god,
Yeah.
I saw this on like TikTok that it's a thing, I guess. So yeah, that was decent. From the singles, Dominic Fike was cool, and the weekend he finally dropped the "Jealous Guy" song, the John Lennon cover, which was fire. He'd been teasing that for a minute on Instagram Live with Mike Dean, and I didn't know what it was going to be for. I didn't know if it was going to be for the Idol, something on his own. It was for the Idol. But yeah, good song. Finally glad to have that out there. Good cover.
Yeah, we didn't get into it on the intro. I listened to Mike Dime's project as well, like we had promised last week. I enjoyed that
Yep.
as well. So
Okay.
um so I'm glad we both enjoyed the
I had
opposition's
to.
pick
Yeah.
there.
I had to come through with that deal. I didn't know if you did or not, but
Yeah, I just did it
nice.
on the way to Summer Smash, got it out the way, and then been bumping a few songs. So
Fire. Uh let's get in this double XL freshman list. Like I said, we'll have an episode coming out soon where we'll do our picks for what we have on our double XL freshman list. Expect that in 2 weeks. But this year's freshman list includes Central C, DC the Don, La Tyler, Glorilla, Tia Corinne, Friday, Lola Brooke, Rob 49, Real Boston Richie, Finesse two times, Too Rare, and Sleazy World Go. I gotta be honest, this is one of the freshman lists that I am the least familiar with the artists on it.
yeah, I mean, yeah, this is the back. It starts out strong, and then the back end there. I haven't heard of a lot of them, but I mean that's a good thing. Last year we hadn't listened to Babytron very much, and I've seen the man
Look at
four
us.
times since
Yeah,
then.
yeah,
So,
yeah,
uh,
exactly.
so I mean, it's the purpose of the list, getting their name out there. So I'm very excited to give these guys a listen, and in 2 weeks give our revised list. So,
Yep. I feel like that is the line though. Like, they try to do a good job about them being freshmen,
uh-huh,
new to the game. But I feel like we're also pretty good about like finding new artists. So I feel like
uh-huh.
if we haven't heard of them, like it could be a good thing or it could be a bad thing. We'll see. I'm gonna give them a listen and we'll let you know in 2 weeks. Um,
The names are kind of crazy.
they are, I will be honest, sleazy, whatever. Interesting. Finesse two times. Interesting.
Real Boston Richie, baby.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. We might have butchered some of those names, but we'll give them some respect. We'll give them a listen at least. I'm gonna throw them on a playlist and give a couple songs of each of them a listen for sure. Shout out to DC the Don though. I just saw him, so W
Yeah,
getting him on the
Central
freshman
C on
list
there
there.
as well.
Central C, you saw him, yep. So each of us
Glorilla,
saw.
another
Oh,
one.
I saw two freshmen. Yeah, okay, nice. There's a bombshell dropped over the weekend. There's a new Drake album coming for all the dogs. This
I'm
was kind of
ex-
surprising. I don't know. I don't know what to think.
I'm super excited because you can't just bring in, they say they miss the old Drake girl don't tempt me. You can't just like say that without bringing a
Mm-mm.
fucking a banger. So I have high expectations just off that. If it was just a Drake project alone, I mean, it'd be the same thing. I'd be excited for it and everything, of course. But bringing that line in, ooh,
Yeah,
it's got to be something good, or that's where my hopes are at.
I hope so too. I saw that line and I got my hopes up for sure. I also love there's like this picture of Drake from the Views era where he's got like a mink coat on and he's standing outside in the snow with a dog. So I mean, that's just what I think of for all the dogs and Drake. That's exactly where my mind went. I don't know why. Well, I guess because it's him and a dog. But
Yeah,
that'd be a tough cover. I don't know what kind of cover we're gonna get, but it's too old of a picture for it to be the cover. But it would have been fire if this came out in 2016.
yeah. I his covers, I feel like people like have been hating on him a lot. I have really hadn't had any issues. Certified Lover Boy, not my
Mm.
favorite. Honestly,
Honestly,
never
never
mind.
mind.
I like that one. I fuck
It's
with that
okay. It's
cover.
fine. It's fine. It's not like anywhere near the top for me, but it's a cool font, cool colors, but it's all right. There's better, especially when you're Drake and you got access to. You could
Yeah, I mean,
ask anybody to make it.
Virgil designed the cover. Like,
Yeah,
what more can you do there?
yeah. I don't know. Um, but yeah, this is gonna be a big one for sure. Next news: Young Thug is expected to sell around 110,000 units, and he's gonna battle against Morgan Wallen for the number one spot. If he gets it, he'll be the first rap album to hit number one this year, which would be crazy. Obviously, Drake's coming, so if Thug doesn't, Drake will probably get it. Travis is coming.
Uzi.
He'll probably get it. Uzi's coming. He'll probably get it. So it's going to happen in the next like 3 weeks max, but it would be a W for Young Thug to get it.
Yeah, it would be a massive W. So I think it'll happen. I'd like to think so, but it hasn't happened yet. You know, Smirk can overcome his boy, so we'll see. Morgan Wallen's on a tear right now, so
he is. He was running Wrigley Field last week, so I'm sure some of our listeners were there. I know a couple of our listeners were there. He brought out Lil Durk, so that would have been pretty fire. Yeah. I don't know how much that crowd appreciated that, but if I was there, I would have appreciated that. So
yeah,
shout out to Morgan Wallen, I guess. But yeah, I think that's going to wrap it up. You know, there was some other news here, but we went crazy long here with talking about our stories from Summer Smash. So we'll be back next week, of course, with the Ox Battle. And then, I mean, Ox Battles are pretty short. Some people talk about some of the news we skipped over this week. Got some good music coming here in the next couple of weeks. So we're going to have a lot to talk about coming up.
It's picking up. I mean, yeah, these episodes have been a lot. They've flowed a lot better. You know, it feels like last year. So it's starting to feel like summer, I guess. So we'll see you guys next week for Ox Battles. So peace.
Let's get it. Have a good week, guys. Peace.